a look at what we have on the agenda for this week. It's a week that has quite a lot of news data coming out. A couple of the highlights of the week, and I guess the things that we should really be looking out for, essentially, is I think the major movers for this particular week is FOMC meetings. As soon as I can find it, where is it? There we go. FOMC meetings. This is a crucial one. It's happening on at the wee hours of Thursday morning, or rather Wednesday night when you go to sleep. If you're on my time zone, which is Sydney, Eastern Standard Time. Essentially, from these meetings, what we're looking for here is we're trying to see if we're going to get any kind of an indication of how the US feels regarding its interest rate pending decision. It's quite clearly that the first quarter, which is now completed, well and truly completed, has not been as good as expected. In fact, it's shown weakness in terms of growth. So one is getting the feeling that pretty sooner or later something's going to happen, and they may take I guess, a bit of a U-turn or a delayed action in their intentions on interest rates moving. Now, if this should happen, and then all of a sudden they say something along the line, because let's face it, everybody's expecting something to happen in September now. All right. So if we start to get towards that it may not happen, and they indicate that, what it could see is we could see US dollar weakness, and which there has been quite a lot in the recent, say, 2 or 3 weeks. But it could really just open the floodgates out, and the US could just really lose a lot of the gains that it's taken over the first quarter. All right. So FOMC meetings is very, very big this week. The other factor for the US, which is quite large, is the CPI figures. These are the two major bits of news that is going to affect the US dollar this week. Should we get a weak CPI number and a bad combination of an indication in these meetings, we could really see the US dollar move dramatically backwards. Or alternatively, if the CPI number comes up very strong all of a sudden, and the FOMC meeting sticks to their guns as what they have been saying, it could signal the bottom, I guess, of the US. And when we look at charts, I'll explain a bit more what I mean. The dollar index has been falling and falling and falling, and everybody's now starting to say, have we reached that bottom? And if we get the combination of what we're looking for, we could see a recovery and hence a move back into the other direction. All right, so that's for the US. In terms of other data, the GBP has got their official bank votes. Okay, nobody really expects that to be any different. However, the elections have just gone by, and the main thing that's happening in the US is they're looking for, I guess, them to come out and state what their monetary policy is going to be. Everybody is largely expecting it to remain the same, okay, but there's pressure. So the bank votes is crucial to that, because it kind of indicates what that, I guess, body of people who vote on their indication on which way they want to go. All right, so this is going to be, even though no one really expects anything different, there may be some surprises there on the GBP front from that one. Okay, we also got retail sales GBP, and I think that's about and CPI figures tomorrow evening. All right, the last one that you should keep an eye out for, I'm a yen trader, is basically this one here. You know, any time the Japanese yen or the BOJ comes out and gives a monetary policy statement, it's times that you kind of cringe, or you really, really smile, or if you've got positions in the market, you start to wonder, should I be closing those positions out, etc., etc. Okay, so everybody knows that the Japan favors weakening of their currency and lots and lots of easing. But every time that they make their statement on what their policy is going to be over the next quarter, it can throw in a couple of surprises in there. All right, so be aware of that. That happens in the wee hours of Friday midnight, or should we say Saturday morning. So Thursday evening or Friday morning. So keep an eye on that. In terms of the Aussie, it's a quieter week for the Aussie. We just have our monetary policy meetings tomorrow. There was some indication already today that I forgot his name, is it Glenn Stevens? He's come out, and pretty much the RBA has come out and said that we still have room to move interest rates should we require to do so. And instantly when that happens, we saw the Aussie backtrack a couple of 100 odd pips. All right, so they're kind of being vague. Central banks have been very, very dominant in recent times regarding the movement of currencies, and that's one of the major things that people are starting to adjust to in terms of trading, and I guess that's why we look at these every Monday morning to complement and to assist us in our decision making when we choose our technical based methods. Okay, I guess for the number of data and the importance of the data coming out for this week, the GBP/USD is our currency under the spotlight. It's the one that's most vulnerable to market movement, so just keep an eye out on that particular one. Okay, take note, these times that I'm showing you here are in my local time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, or otherwise Sydney time. Make an adjustment to wherever you are if you're taking notes from that. Alright, let's bring out our charts and let's see what we have the calendar has for us this particular week. Alright, so let's start off with the Aussie dollar. Alright, now in last we were tracking, give me one moment, on a daily, I think last week we were tracking a daily triangle where that it was a 4-hour triangle, apologies, and I was saying we were around about here somewhere, and I was saying keep an eye, see if we break downwards. That's the trade that I was really, really looking for. It just felt like it was going to happen. I did also say I do get the feeling that we're going to go and test the top one more time before we come back down. Now, it did go back and test it, but it never came back down, and we never got a clean entry anyway, so there was no damage done. What actually happened is we broke on the upside, and you can see that we got a nice movement upwards. Did anybody take this trade at all? I just want to get a show of hands if anybody took it. If you didn't, then basically there was no harm done. We were expecting a downward movement, which we did not get. And in the end, basically, it was a nothing. All right. Now, for the more astute trader, it was a difficult entry. I have to give you that much, because right there is no clean cut, really, really good signal. If anybody did last Thursday's strategy that I showed, there was an entry there, but when I showed it to you, it had already triggered. Alright, so you would have had to have known that strategy before Thursday to be able to take advantage. In any case, not to worry, that's what the Aussie dollar has done for us. Now, for this week, I'm just having a quick look, and just bear with me one moment, I just saw something. The only thing that I can see is there's a rising wedge here. Just bear with me. I just don't know if the trade's already completed. Okay. Can everybody see here that we've got a rising wedge happening? Is everybody happy with those points that I've selected? I've got 2 clean touches up the top. I've got 1. I've got 2 there, so it's valid. So what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for something in here. Now there's two types of trades that I'm interested in. One, I'm interested in a bounce, or two, I'm interested in a clean break right through again. Last week we were looking for the clean breakdown. It never happened. All right. So in the end we got a trade upwards. So some of us got it, some of us didn't. But these are the two trades that I'm looking for now. For the bounce, I'm going to try and catch this trade with a price action candle sequence. So what I'm going to be looking for is some kind of a candle that looks like this. Okay, it can have a little bit of a wick or not. And then I want the fractal to be at the bottom of it, and I want an inside candle after it, and then I'll take the trade that direction. Okay, is that clear for everybody? Does everybody understand? If you don't, you're going to have to go back and review the price action strategy to help you get an entry. So that's what we will be looking for the long. If we break down, then the trade that I'm interested in is I want a clean break as such, and at the start of the next candle we enter the trade. That's the way that we would be looking for it. Alright, so those are the two options that we have. I am on a 4-hour chart, so this London session that is about to open in about an hour and 18 minutes could give us either one of these setups. Alright, so I believe that after London today we could get the bounce back setup, could come later in the evening, maybe like about 10 p.m. because I'm going to need about 3 more candles, or early tomorrow morning. Okay, and the breakdown could come a little bit earlier. Alright, so keep an eye on that. Those two trades are on the cards for us for this session coming through. Alright, now for those of you who are new or who have not noticed, you might have noticed that I've changed my template that I'm using. Now I feel that we've kind of progressed a bit more, and this template's a little bit more useful for us on the Mondays. I've got my zigzag in there. It's only lightly colored because I don't want it to really take over my screen, but you can see it. For those of you who are interested, I'm running with my 733 setting as I showed last Thursday. 733 setting on the zigzag indicator. The simple moving average that I'm running is just a 50 simple moving average, 50 SMA. Those are the two indicators that I'm running. That's it. And I've got the fractal. Alright, so a lot of the trades that we try and find on the Mondays are pattern trades, price action trades, trend trades, counter trends. This template will help me find all of those. Okay, so that's the template that I'm running, just in case anybody asks. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, Euro USD. We got an identical setup to, actually this one's cleaner. This is much cleaner than the Aussie. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've got 3 touches on each line. It's a rising wedge. Now I just want to show you something else on this one. Let me just, I'm on a 4-hour, let me go to a daily and let me zoom out a little bit. Look at this grey area at the top here that I've colored in. It's an old ceiling. We're coming to it right now, so we are at what we call a critical point. So two things can happen. Either it can reject us down, or we can break right through it. That's generally the way that it happens. This is a very strong point. So let's go back and zoom in and let's have a look how this affects us. I'm going to go back into my 4-hour chart. You can see there's the grey area on my chart. So there's a couple of ways that you could basically play this out. Alright, we are now in the narrow section. So to try and take a trade just for this little movement there's not enough in it. Alright, so the reward for the risk is not high enough. So essentially I would say no, don't take that just to get to this line. So the trade that you're going to be looking for, if you want to go down, you want this one to clean this out nicely, and then basically you can jump in on this trade and hit it in the downward direction. So I'm on a 4 hour, and there's a rising wedge. What I'm looking for is a clean break on the downside and take it down. Alternatively, let me just quickly have a quick look at one thing. Alternatively, if you're a little bit more conservative, what you could do is, let me just get rid of these lines for one moment. Working with a daily candle right now, what you can do is you can wait for this candle, this is the current candle, to finish, which will be at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. When that candle finishes, what we're hoping we get is a candle that stays in there somewhere. As an example, you'll get a fractal up on the other candle, and then as soon as we break the low of the current candle, you can take the trade downward based on price action off a double top. Alright, if the current candle ends up going through like that, well then the down trade is no longer in play. You now have an option if you want to trade the break up. Alright, does that make sense for everybody? So this, I'm doing it with my daily chart. Alright, and Lois is saying we're at the 127 right now. We are, let me check. I'll go to my 4-hour chart. On a 4-hour chart, Lois, or on a daily? On a 4-hour. Okay, give me 1 second. There's my 4-hour. Okay, oh, we're a little bit, not quite. We're still a bit short of it. So if I go from that point there down to this point here, my 127 is we're close-ish, not quite. Okay, so the 127 is not my major reason for wanting to short. My major reason for wanting to short is there's two of them. One, it's that rising wedge that I had drawn on my chart, which I will put back on right now. Give me one moment. There. And the other reason is that it's a double top. Okay, so what you might find is that you could actually probably get this trade trigger both off this pattern and off a daily. So for example, if we break and we get a candle that looks like that, and then you start your trade down based off your 4-hour chart, if you then jumped over tomorrow morning to your daily, what you might find is that you got the price action that you were looking for as well. Okay, either way it's valid. What I'm basically trying to say is a short on the Euro USD is on the cards. It should trigger, I would say, tomorrow or later tonight, depending on this pattern. Okay, early tomorrow morning, I think we should get a trigger on this one. We all clear on how we want to play the Euro USD? The only other one is if we go to a daily and I shrink out and I get the candle that does this, clears everything, then it all of a sudden it opens up a brand new door, and what you can do is take it straight off there if you want, or if you're much more conservative, wait a couple of candles for a pullback and then try and take it off there. Alright, so those are the options, the only options that we have on the Euro USD. I really do think that the short's going to come into play, and that's the trade that I'm really looking for. Alright, let's move on. GBP USD. Okay. First of all, GBP USD. Let me get rid of some of these lines so that we don't get confused. Just bear with me one moment. This is a daily chart. Last week we were here or over here somewhere, and I said exactly as I've just spoken about the Euro USD. We said if we get a clean break, which we got it right here, the trade is ready to go forward. All right, so that trade got as far as 220 pips in our favor. Did anybody take it? Anybody? No? No one took this particular trade. Okay, I can understand why not. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. This had already moved from here without any hesitation there. That movement is like nearly 500 pips. It's hard when something moves 500 pips to then say, I'm going to continue in that movement for another whatever. So I understand that. The only thing is, I'll put this thought in your head. Okay? Think of this. Imagine there is a big hill like this. Okay? And there's a big rock at the top of the hill. And there's a man or someone's pushing that. How hard is it to catch that rock right there? Alright? It's much easier to step aside and jump on board and let it roll some more. Just because it's going up, that doesn't mean it's an upward movement, okay? Because I could easily, instead of saying GBP USD, I could quote it as USD GBP. At the end of the day, it's simply a relationship. Don't forget that. I can quote it as USD GBP, and then what you would see is a downward movement. Alright? So just all I want to do is put that thought in your head. Sometimes it's much easier to get something out of the market with the momentum. Alright? And our own natural fear prevents us from entering this trade. We talked about it. We talk about it all the time. It still provokes that fear. That's okay. What have we got now? I saw a set of parallel lines. Give me 1 second. I just got to redraw them. Okay. Are we happy with those? We got one touch, two down the bottom. I've got that, and three at the top. Who likes these sets of lines? The good thing about this is when I go back to my daily, we've already cleared the double top. We've cleared it. So all the orders that were sitting there are out of the system. What we naturally expect from a breakout like this is some kind of a pullback before it goes again. Alright, so these lines that we've found in our chart right now gives us an opportunity to trade the pullback. Alright, now should it pull back so much that it breaks through, well then you've got the option to trade down. If you don't want to trade the pullback right now, the next trade that you're going to be looking for is over here in that direction. Alright, so let's have a look. Let's see if we can pick it. I've just stepped into a 4-hour chart. Give me one moment. I'm just looking for an entry. See if I can get one. You know what? Off a daily, there's my daily chart. That's a daily chart right there. It's still the same channel. I've actually got an entry right now of a body engulfing setup. This candle in the red is body engulfing this little blue one there. Can everybody see that? Does it make sense? This candle's body is engulfing this little candle's body. Yep. Off a daily chart, and you can on a daily chart you can still see the parallel lines are being respected. So what that basically means is that your entry point, give me 1 second, I can't zoom in anymore, I'm super zoomed in. The entry point would have been the opening of this candle, which is say 157.33. Right now we're at 157.25-ish. So for anybody who's an aggressive trader, actually you don't even have to be an aggressive trader. This is just a nice setup to go short right now at market. Let me just check the fib level on this. I'm just curious. Okay, the fib level is just through the 168 right there. Let me just check one more thing. I'm curious about one last thing. Okay, I just want to check one thing. Alright, this is a setup, guys. So if anybody is interested in this trade, you can go short right now. If you're a little bit conservative, what you can do is we can try and get in at a better price with a pending order. So how much room is there here? There's about 80 pips. So for example, you can try and put in your pending order to get in at a price which is about say 35 pips better than where we are right now. So what I'm saying is 25 plus 35, what's that? 60. So if you put in a pending order at 57.60, it's a bit of the best of both worlds. Your stop is going to be placed at about 58.16. Alright, so let me draw that in so that everybody understands exactly what I'm talking about. What that means is this: 58.60 is probably there somewhere, and my stop is just there. The trade at 1-to-1, do something like always. This is probably a 2 or 3-to-1 trade. 3-to-1 would put you at about there. You want to try and get out where that grey line is that I've marked, because that's the old memory of the old high. Don't forget. Alright, so you can either jump in right now at market from there, or you can try and get in over there. The only thing is, I'm not sure if you're going to get triggered in. Alright, everybody clear on what I've just said there? Yeah? Okay, fantastic. Alright, so that's the GBP USD. Let's move on. Let's have a look at gold. Wow. Ho, ho, ho. Very nice. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit more. Gold. We nearly got a trigger down here, but we didn't. None of those candles closed underneath. These ones here, they're blue candles. They're positive candles, so you can't count them. They have to be a bearish candle closing underneath. None of those did. And then you get this candle. That candle there is a clear signal. Alright? And it actually pulled back and gave you an opportunity to get in at the line before it shot off. Alright? Now, let me just move across. Did anybody trade this, by the way? Anybody trade this gold trade here? Let me just measure something. The movement. Oops, wrong line. There you go. So this trade has reached its target. See this distance of the aperture from when we triggered. We would have triggered there. We've already hit the target from there to there, and you can see that we're up there. Okay, so just looking around, no one took this one. That's okay. Okay, but this trade's a little bit easier to trade because it's starting to get very, very narrow, and after last Thursday's class, you're going to find this trade easier and easier to spot and to pick up. Alright, so this is the kind of trade that I actually want to try and catch more of, because it's a really, really nice, easier to spot, easier to execute trade. Let me step into a daily and let's see what we can see. Let me get rid of this now. Okay, from my daily chart, essentially I've expanded my trading range. See, this has gone lower and we are higher, so I need for this to settle down. So right now I'm going to have to wait, but when I expand my trading range, what could happen is we could get a point down here and we could get another point there, for example, and then we've got that zigzag, and then we can draw lines across like that and looking for these types of trades. Alright, so at the moment our trading range has expanded. Let me go back to a 4 hour, see if there's anything there. No, nothing there right now. We just need to wait until something shows itself. Right now for gold I don't have anything. That pattern just broke out. That's completed. We need to wait for the next one. Okay. Next, US yen. Alright, I'm on a daily chart. Very, very clean. Very, very obvious. We're in a congested ranging trading zone. Right there. Very difficult to find trades. We would need to find something of a ranging method to spot something. So what I like to do is go into a 4 hour chart. Let me zoom out a little bit and see if I can spot something. Naturally, I would be interested in anything occurring on the fringes. Alright, if I'm a range trading, I'll be looking for these types of trades, or alternatively look for the breaks outs. So these are things that I'm looking for. I'm also looking to see if I'm getting a narrowing trading range. I am not. Oh, hang on, I saw something. Give me 1 second. Okay, there's a potential ABCD pattern. If you go from point A to point B out to point C, this is falling on the 78.4 fib level. Okay, and then if you go to out here to here, point D, that's my 127 fib level, which makes it a valid ABCD pattern. Now why I'm interested in that is simply because this level is also at the bottom of this big triangle. And the way that you trade an ABCD is you trade it, so it would be bang, bang like a lightning bolt, and then you trade it in that direction, and this level happens to fall at the same base level as this congestion. Okay, so let's get you a level. you're looking for a trade to go long at around about 118.59, 118.50, sorry, 18, let's call it 118.60. Okay, that's the level that you're looking for. If I zoom out, you'll see that we're in that. See, I've just got this area loosely marked. If I capture everything, you can see that that spot there is right on the bottom as such. Does that make sense for everybody? So this is US yen, ABCD pattern. It's going to be a buy at the one. I'll put a mark on my chart so I remember. That's what I'm looking to do. We go to daily, remark out my congestion zone. Lois is saying on my gold chart, you could put in a potential place for a high using the channel from 1142. Is this the channel you're talking about, Lois, and you're looking for that area up there? Okay, so Lois is saying that this particular channel, this line, also picks up these lows down here, and then it's picking up highs. So there's a high probability that from where we currently are, this is going to go and test that line as such. Okay, so okay, that's fair enough. That's on a daily. I get the feeling that it's going to continue to go up. All right, the 4-hour trade that we took is already completed. So what you may look for next on gold is look for some kind of a reversal up there to go back down. Okay, so that looks good, Lois. Thank you for that. I didn't see that. All right, back to the US yen. So the US yen, we're looking to get that bounce off an ABCD. All right, everybody was clear on that. Let's go to the euro yen. Okay, we spotted this one during last Thursday's class, and we said that we were taking, when we drew the lines there, we got the clean candle, and I believe we were over here. I said if anybody wants this trade, you could still get in at the same price, and consequently it has moved forward. All right, now remember, when you trade this way, at the very least your target should be from where you break, the high point that you break. So this area here, just draw the same area over there, and that gives you the target. Okay, now right now with the euro yen, like the euro USD, if I go out to a daily and I zoom out, we're at a double top situation. Okay, so we need to see what's going to happen there, and there's a couple of ways that we can do this. Probably with this particular one, let me get rid of these lines now, I don't need them. That's come and gone. I think the way we'll play this one is we're going to have to wait for this candle to finish, and it looks like we've taken out, this candle has taken that one out, so I'm going to have to wait 2 days. What I want to see is how this candle ends up, and I want to see the next candle after it before I can take a trade down. Alright, so I get the feeling that this one may not trigger because already the candle pattern has spoilt it. Either way, we're going to wait for this candle to finish and tomorrow's candle to finish before I see if I get a trade out of the euro yen. Let me have a quick look at a 4-hour if there's anything better there. on the 4-hour chart, if you wanted to, if you really wanted to, you could try and trade price action of the current candle and the next candle. So we need to wait 4 hours for this one to finish, then you've got to wait 4 hours for the next candle, and then you could be ready to take it down. The reason why I would be willing to short it is because I am right on that grey area, which is that double top. Alright, it's the only reason that I'm looking to shoot it. Let me just check what the fib level is there as well. No, it's nothing. So ignore it. Okay, so Euro Yen. You could trade it off a 4-hour candle. You're going to have to wait for the current candle to finish and then another 4 hours before you trigger. Or you can try and do it off a daily, but you're going to have to wait for 2 candles and see if we get what we're looking for. Okay? If the current candle breaks that high by, say, 20 pips or something like that, then forget about it. Even if you get the formation, it's not at the place where we want it to occur. Alright? Alright, let's carry on. Let's have a look at the Kiwi Dollar. Alright, Kiwi Dollar, we got that break. We got the break down and then it's shot back up. Now what happened with the Kiwi Dollar from memory, milk volumes were predicted to start to decrease. New Zealand is a country whose principal source of income depends largely on milk volumes. It's a dairy kind of, they've got, there's no reason everybody makes the jokes that they do about New Zealand. They've got lots of dairy, and milk is a crucial element in that. Basically, decreasing levels of milk volume in the Kiwi Dollar basically means a lower GDP, which affects the currency. All right, so that was caused this little bit here. All right, now if you were trading this for a normal break, the trade to that level got to the 1-to-1 ratio level. All right, so that means that if you had moved your stop to break even, well then that's it, you're out of the trade and you made some money on half of the trade. Alright, that's the first thing. If you're trading, when you're trading patterns and you're trading longer time frames, if you're using the fractal as a trailing stop method, your original stop when you entered the trade, and remember we got in with a pending order on this one, some of you may have got in at market, but your stop would have been there where that last fractal is. So if you were still in this trade, your stop would be there right now. It would have been bumped down to that level and you're still in the trade. Okay, so is there anybody that's still in this trade right now? Can I just get a show of hands if you still have a position short on Kiwi Dollar? No, no one. Okay, all right. Well, if no one's got it, let's look for the next trade. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at a 4-hour. Okay, on a 4-hour chart, we could be getting, see where this, if this comes down more, I don't really, it does, even if it stays there, I would prefer this level to drop down to say here, for example. It doesn't have to be precise, but I'm just doing it by eye. And then if it jumped up to there somewhere, and then I get this pattern, and then what I really want to do effectively is I want to draw my line across it like this and look for break down or up, preferably down. Alright, I prefer this one a little bit more. I can see this pattern happening. I'm on a 4-hour chart. It's early phases, but this could be ready in about later this week, like Thursday. Alright, so please keep an eye out on this one. It's already in progress. This, I just don't know what this bottom point is. As soon as we start to turn around, we can lock in the bottom point, and then we need for it to lock in at the top, and then we're ready to trade the break. All right, does everybody understand? I think the more you look at patterns, you will get this feel, and the reason I'm getting this feeling is because we cleared that low by quite a lot, and then we cleared that high by quite a lot as well. So the range just got really wide. Naturally, when that happens, there's so many orders in the system in that area and in this area that now all those orders have been taken out of the market. So naturally what happens is the market there's less activity on those fringes, so it starts to narrow in on itself. All right, so the process has started. Keep an eye out on this one. I'm just going to draw tentatively on my chart so that I remember what I'm looking for. Give me one moment. I'm looking for something like that, and I'm looking for something like that. Okay, all right, so that's Kiwi Dollar. Need to wait for that one. Euro AUD. What a horrible looking chart this is. Is anybody trading Euro AUD right now? Nope. Okay. Hang on. Let me just check one thing. 127. That's good. Hey, we're on an ABCD right now. I just saw it. Okay, let me point it out. Let me zoom in so we can see it a bit better. It's not the sweetest looking one, but here. If I go from this point here, point A, up to there, point B, we can see that we've come down to here, and right, which is basically point C, which is the 127 Fibonacci extension. Okay, so now let me get rid of those fib levels, and this time I'm going to stretch it from there to down here. The 127 has to match up with the 78.6, and now you can see here we're at the 78.6. Okay, so we have a valid A, B, C, D pattern. So which way should the trade go? Help me out. From the D point, which way should I be trading? Short or long? Okay, Rav says short, Merv says short, Lois says down. Anybody else? Okay, good. It's short. All right, and on top of that, I've got a price action set up as well. Look at this. I've got a candle with these two candles here. I've got an inside candle set up. That one's got the fractal. So that means one thing. As soon as I break this low there, it's all on in that direction. If I break that high, you got to cancel out your order. You just won't get triggered. Is that clear for everyone? So that was the worst looking chart, and it's got a trade set up. So sometimes you need to look a little bit deeper into it. Everybody's clear on that. Okay, fantastic. Does anybody want me to have a look at anything in specific, or you have any final questions? Just type them in. I'm going to go back and review everything that we've done, and I'll answer your question in a moment. Aussie USD. Clearly, I'm in a rising wedge. I want to wait and see if I can trigger any trades on the fringes, either down or back in. That's Aussie dollar. That's on a 4-hour chart. Euro USD, very, very similar. This pattern is a little bit more converging and it's a little bit stronger because I've got three touches, 1, 2, and 3 on each line, 1, 2, and 3. So, and on top of that, that top one right now is on that grey area, which is a double top from history back. Okay, so either you can wait to see if we can get the break through it like that, or off a daily chart tomorrow you can try and get a setup like we have right now on the Euro AUD, see if we can get an inside candle to trade it down off tomorrow's candle. GBP USD, we're in a channel, we have an engulfing body engulfing setup right now. If you want it, GBP short right now. Okay, gold, we are going to monitor this channel, see what happens. US yen, we got an ABC set up at 118.60 if we get there. Euro yen, we're going to try and do that double top. We've just broken up higher. See, it's gone higher again. Alright, so maybe off a 4-hour channel, off a 4-hour chart, you might get that trade, but it looks like it's not going to happen now. Kiwi Dollar, look for this pattern to evolve. Euro Aussie, we got a trade, we got a pending order to short at, let me get a level, 142.45, so probably at 142.41. Okay, you can short this. Your stop will be 142, say 84. Okay. And that does it for us this week. I've written that down, so we've basically got two trades on the cards, the GBP and we've got the Euro AUD, both short, and some other potentials that may trigger throughout the week. Any final questions before we call it a day? All good as always. If you want me to check something, send me a screenshot. I'll have a look at it and I will respond to you. Other than that, I will see you all on Thursday, 3:30. We'll cover another strategy and we'll keep going with our program. All right. Take care. Bye for now. Speak to you then. Bye, guys.